Hi, welcome to our show, Crooked Doctors. Today is Friday, September 9th, 2011. If you'd like to ask us a question, we're at 212-245-7273. That's 212-245-7273. We got a lot to do today, and the first thing I want to do is let you know about what's going to happen next week. And next week we have an excellent guest. I'm thrilled that he's going to be here. Let me put up his card so you can see. His name is, you know what? Let me go to. Hang on for 1 second here. There we go. Let me hang on for 1 second. I'm going to tell you about our guests for next week, and then we got a lot to get through this week, because what I want to talk about is not only crooked doctors and not only crooked lawyers like Assistant District Attorney Alex Spiro, who lied to a judge, and I'm going to show you that evidence because I was asked about this by my attorney most recently. But I'm going to show you in a few simple documents how to protect yourself against crooked doctors, namely crooked psychiatrists, doctors who lie. And this is a very important issue, not only for us, regular folks, but even if you happen to be a celebrity or a public person or a semi-public person. There are doctors in New York who like to psychoanalyze people. They don't have the right to do that. If you're a private person, a doctor, a psychiatrist cannot offer his opinion about you because you're a private person and you have a right not to be grist for his mill. So if you're a private person and a psychiatrist is offering an opinion about you, he doesn't have the right to do that unless you, the person signed consent. As you know, my name is Lydia Radin, and I'm being stalked through life by a bunch of dishonest doctors and lawyers associated with the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. And in Jersey City, they almost murdered me. Then they lied to drop-kick me into Rikers Island, where I was physically assaulted, and I'm lucky to be alive today. Now, my falsified records at my medical school are forming a foundation of falsified records. I have falsified records at Jersey City Medical Center. That's being admitted to now. And these falsified records were used at Rikers Island to discredit me as a witness against, for example, Jimmy David. James David is a dishonest doctor. He's a crooked doctor. I refused, I was illegally expelled from my medical school because I refused to sign a contract releasing, for example, James David, from liability in my case. I wasn't expelled from medical school because there's something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. I happen to be a wonderful person. My medical school expelled me. This is Martin Bockstein. Martin Bockstein was a former general counsel of Yeshiva University. Martin Bockstein is a dishonest lawyer, and what he decided to do was he tried to get me to sign a contract releasing my medical school from liability in my case. And when I refused to do that, he and the doctors on my the contract that they wanted me to sign was supposed to release everybody from liability, from like the head of the school down to the janitor, the promotions committee, the staff, the faculty, everybody from liability. No. I refused to sign a contract releasing my school from liability in my case, and in retaliation, they stalked me through life, telling people that I was mentally ill when I wasn't, telling people that I was a deranged terrorist when I wasn't. Do you know how sick that is? And right now, today, on the Columbia University campus, Janice Bennett is a clinical psychologist. She works in student health. She used to work at Yeshiva University. She changed jobs. Now she works at Columbia University. She was a person on my promotions committee. She was director of a class that I took, Introduction to Clinical Medicine. She was a person that I refused to release from liability in my case. And she retaliates now at Columbia University when I went to speak to Janice Bennett and said to her, listen, you know the facts of my case. I'd like to sit down with you and your supervisor. John Scarfone is associate counsel at Yeshiva University, and he lied in 2006. In 2006, he went into federal court and lied about me. So I approached Janice Bennett on the Columbia University campus, and I say to her, you have a responsibility. You had an initial duty, and you have a continuing duty to be truthful and forthcoming about the classes I took and the classes that I passed when I was in medical school. The lie that John Scarfone told, in 2006, I was named as a witness in another student's case. And the lie that John Scarfone told, and I've shown that document on this show, was that he tried to discredit me by claiming that I had failed all my classes as a first-year student except for Todd Olson's anatomy class. That's not true. Janice Bennett was director of a class called Introduction to Clinical Medicine, which had several parts, A, B, C, D, and E. If I were failing any of those classes, then that would be reported to Janice Bennett. So Janice Bennett, it's now 2008, 2009, is now at Columbia University, and I approached her at her place of business at the reception area, and I asked to make an appointment to speak with her. And I wanted to sit down with her and her supervisor, Dr. Bennett. You were director of Introduction to Clinical Medicine. You sat on my promotions committee. If it were true that, and the job of the promotions committee is to monitor the academic progress of students to make sure that they're eligible, for example, to receive federal student loans, because the government does not give schools money and then have the students do nothing, okay? So the job of the promotions committee is to monitor academic progress. So, 2006, John Scarfone, crooked lawyer, goes into court, federal court, and lies. And by the way, if this is an Orthodox Jewish religious school, Rabbi Lamb, you paid John Scarfone to lie in federal court about me. So what you got here is a violation of the Ten Commandments. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, Rabbi Lamb. So John Scarfone in 2006 goes into federal court and lies about me. And 2 or 3 years later, I walk on the Columbia University campus. I'm an honors graduate. I'm an alum of Columbia University. I paid for services on that campus as an alum. I paid, for example, to use the research libraries. And I go to Janice Bennett. I'm allowed on campus. I have a right to be on campus. I go to Janice Bennett and I say, you no longer work at Yeshiva University. Now you work at Columbia University, and Columbia has an anti-retaliation policy. So you should be able to tell the truth and work here at Columbia and expect that no one from Yeshiva University would retaliate against you. So Dr. Bennett, you were my professor. You were director of Introduction to Clinical Medicine when I was a first-year student at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. And you know that John Scarfone, it's your job to know. Okay, I paid your salary. Your duty is to me, not to the university. Your duty is to me, the student who paid tuition, and my tuition dollars paid your salary. So you have a responsibility to tell the truth. So Dr. Bennett, I go to her place of business on the Columbia University campus. She works at Student Health, and I say, Dr. Bennett, I'd like to sit down with you. I'd like to sit down for a 3-minute meeting with you and your supervisor so you can confirm that I did not fail all my classes as a first-year student. And John Scarfone lied in federal court to discredit me as a witness. And what does Janice Bennett do? She runs down to the public safety department at Columbia University and she lies. And she makes up a big story about her feelings. Her feelings are irrelevant. It doesn't matter what she feels. She has a responsibility to say, that's not true. I'm director of ICM class. ICM class has parts A, B, C, D, and E. If you were failing any of those classes, it was my job to know. I didn't fail Introduction to Clinical Medicine. I'm the one who's being harassed. I'm the one who's being stalked. And the lies that these people told led to physical assaults on me that left me with serious bodily injury, could have left me paralyzed or dead. So Janice Bennett today continues to lie. Columbia University today continues to illegally bar me from campus. So what we're going to look at for a moment is, this is going to be my guest next week. I already have, I have a commitment from Dr. Here, let me just increase the view here. Let's zoom in. This is Stephen DeLuca. I'm not sure you can see this really good. But Stephen DeLuca is, he's the Republican, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to lose it off screen. Oh yeah, here we go. Just one second. Let me increase the magnification here. And then move this over so you guys can see it. Okay. There we go. This is our guest next week. Okay, so Dr. Stephen DeLuca is the Hudson County executive. He's, well, he's not the Hudson County executive now. He'd like to be the Hudson County executive. He's running on the Republican Party ticket. He's running for Hudson County executive, and he's going to be a guest on the show next week. And there are a number of issues that we'll be discussing that will be fascinating and very important, because here's the most important thing. As you know, in Jersey City, I was physically assaulted, almost murdered. Left with serious bodily injury, lucky to be alive today. Could have been left paralyzed or dead. And all of this goes back to my medical school and John Scarfone. Apparently, these people have been stalking me through life, telling people I'm a deranged terrorist. It's unconscionable what these people have done. And when I was trying to live my life in Jersey City, apparently ran around behind my back telling lie after lie after lie. One of the issues that I confirmed in the past 2 weeks was that Debbie Simon, who's a prosecutor at the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office, has been lying for 2.5 years and lied to the State Attorney General's office. And we're going to get into those details in a minute. But there's an election on November 8th, and there's a way to put a stop to the people at Jersey City, the folks that I talk to, we've had it with the crime and corruption. And one of the things that the Hudson County executive can do is they can put their foot down. Someone like a prosecutor who works at the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office, like Debbie Simon, she can be fired for cause. When you're a prosecutor and you lie to the State Attorney General's office and you lie to cooperate in crimes against a resident, then the Hudson County executive can fire you. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk to, next week, we're going to talk to the Republican Party candidate for Hudson County Executive, Dr. Stephen DeLuca, and we're going to discuss with him, hopefully we can get a commitment from him that if he were Hudson County Executive and these issues were brought to him, if a former resident of Jersey City went to Dr. DeLuca and said, this is what happened to me, and that, you know, the taxpayers are paying on your payroll for this dishonest person to do this kind of stuff, we would expect that you would fire this person for cause. So next week we're going to have Dr. Stephen DeLuca as our guest. He is running on the Republican Party ticket on November 8th for Hudson County Executive. Up here you can see, you can go to his website, you can read his credentials, and we're going to discuss with him what kind of actions he would take. So he's going to be our guest next week. He's going to get the full hour. He's going to talk about his credentials. He's going to talk about why he wants to be the Hudson County executive. This is a powerful position in Hudson County, because if you're the Hudson County prosecutor, if you're the Hudson County executive, you hire and you fire. And so that's a powerful position to have in the county. So we're going to talk to Dr. Stephen DeLuca, and we're going to see if we can get a commitment from him that one of the ways that he would stop crime and corruption in Hudson County is if you're a prosecutor like Debbie Simon and you lie for 2.5 years, this is the lie that Debbie Simon told. Miss Radin, I can't do an investigation until I get your records from Jersey City Medical Center. And up on YouTube and up on my YouTube videos, I have Bryna Keisner, who's a director of medical records at Jersey City Medical Center. She and I are having a conversation. Bryna Keisner and I were prepared to be fully cooperative with Debbie Simon at the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office. We got the hard copies of my records. We put them in Bryna Keisner's office. Bryna Keisner has been the keeper of the records for like 3 years now. I went to Jersey City Medical Center. I went through the records. I tried to make this case very easy for Debbie Simon, and the both of us were fully cooperative, and we were trying to help Debbie Simon, and what happened to me was wrong. I was physically assaulted at Jersey City Medical Center, left with serious bodily injury. Debbie Simon does not want to prosecute this case because in a complaint, a judge is going to have to answer the question, what's the worst that could have happened to Lydia Radin? And the worst that could have happened to me is paralysis or death. That's called premeditated attempted murder. Every step along the way, these people knew what they were doing. Every lie they told, every record they falsified, all the little steps that they took led to a physical assault on me on Tuesday, September 30th, 2008. I was trying to recover from spinal injuries. I had 5 herniated discs and a pinched nerve, and because of the lies that these people told, and we'll get to all those details, I was physically assaulted at Jersey City Medical Center. I was not treated for the physical assault. After the physical assault, I vomited. So vomiting after a physical assault on a compromised spine is indicative of a life-threatening condition called bleeding in the brain. After the physical assault, and I moved to New York, which was on or about October 22nd, 2008, not October 1st, 2008. That was an attempt to create consistency in false records. I applied for disability, and the doctor who examined me for my disability application, this is 2 months after the physical assault. This is a doctor in New York who is not paid by me and who is doing everything she can to downplay my symptoms, not exaggerate my symptoms, found that the assault was so violent that about 2 months after the attack, she could still see tenderness, swelling, and redness from my back injury. What I want to get to now is we know our guest for next week, and I'm very pleased that he's going to be here, and we'll look forward to that. What I want to do is start showing you how Alex Spiro, Assistant District Attorney Alex Spiro at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, lied in my case, lied to a judge. So I'm going to show you that in 1 or 2 documents, and then I'm going to show you a few documents that will give you some information, some news that you can use. If you are being stalked, God help you, I hope this doesn't happen, but if you are being stalked through life by dishonest, crooked doctors like Jimmy David, here's how you protect yourself. I'm going to show you state law. If you're a private person, see, let me stop for just 1 second. All of this is about power and control. If you're a private person, power and control is in your hands. If you don't sign a document saying that you're some psychiatrist's patient, they have no right to run around behind your back claiming they're psychoanalyzing you or offering opinions about you because you are not their patient. If you are a public person or a semi-private or semi-public person, however you want to refer to it, I, for example, would be a semi-public person. You know, because I'm not quite a celebrity, but, you know, I'm not quite a private person because, you know, I'm on the airways. So if you're a public person or a semi-public person, however you want to refer to it, psychiatrists still try to get around this, try to get around the fact that they have no signed consent form and try to psychoanalyze you and, make up all these stories about you by claiming that they can diagnose you based on your public statements. Once again, they cannot. Okay, that's a lie, and here's why. Because they don't know what's going on in your life. For example, I have secrecy agreements. I had, and part of this is a normal operating procedure for some industries that I was involved in. For example, I worked at Schering-Plough. This is a big pharmaceutical company in New Jersey, and they were prosecuted by Chris Christie when he was federal prosecutor for doing some really bad stuff. I worked at Schering-Plough. Before I could work there, I had to sign a secrecy agreement. My secrecy agreement is so nutsy that my secrecy agreement says things like, if I were to admit that there was a secrecy agreement, that's a violation of my secrecy agreement. Now, why can I talk about these things? Because once it's published in the newspaper, once the events at Schering-Plough are published in, for example, a New York Times article, then it's public information and I can talk about it. I had interviews for some jobs where I had to sign secrecy agreements where I would agree to say the interview never took place. There was no interview. There were manufacturing processes that I was shown that in the course of interviews where that weren't patented yet. So the folks that were interviewing me for jobs asked for secrecy agreements. In my litigation group, when I was educating attorneys, other students were asking me to come forward and educate their attorneys and show them evidence in my case to help them build their cases. I signed secrecy agreements. I have so many secrecy agreements, I don't even want to go into them, but my secrecy agreements, which you will never find, and which will never be produced, say things like, to admit that there is a secrecy agreement is a violation of the secrecy agreement. So, for example, Jimmy David has no basis to diagnose me because I am not his patient, and if he wants to diagnose me based on my public statements, he better produce every single secrecy agreement I ever signed in my life before he says anything, because he has no idea what's going on. Now, I'm going to give you two outrageous examples, because I'm not the only person who's complaining about these dishonest, crooked doctors who presume to offer opinions about people when they don't know them and they don't know what's going on in their lives. So I'm going to pick an outrageous example, a published example, so I can say this. Hillary Clinton, for example, was making a speech one day when she was, I believe she was Secretary of State, but I could be wrong about that. But Hillary Clinton is making a speech one day, and she's wearing a blue blouse. And there were psychiatrists who were saying, or there's one psychiatrist who was saying, you see, this blue blouse has such deep inner significance, and he pontificates about this nonsense. And afterwards, Hillary Clinton was asked about this, and she's like, no, it didn't have any deep significance. It just happened to be the only clean blouse that came back from the cleaners that day, and that's why I wore it. I can give other examples of celebrities and public people who are sick to death of psychiatrists who run around and offer their opinions when they haven't a clue about what's really going on. Now, we would imagine that Hillary Clinton would have signed some secrecy agreements since she is instrumental in our government and was instrumental in our government. So I think that there are a lot of people like Hillary Clinton who would applaud my efforts to limit the power of psychiatrists. See, the problem here is these psychiatrists cannot accept the limits of their power. And at Rikers Island, there was a woman in the mental observation ward. Her mother wanted to control her behavior, and she got a dishonest, a crooked doctor, a crooked psychiatrist to say that her daughter was dangerous to herself because she was having, let's see, what stupid story that this idiot psychiatrist make up? Oh yes, she was having promiscuous, unprotected sex with illegal drug use, therefore she was a danger to herself, and she had to be kept in a locked psychiatric ward. Now, I don't know how to say this politely, so I'm just going to speak freely, and I know that someone like Alan Raskoff would support what I'm about to say and would not take offense. So speaking freely and plainly, gay men have promiscuous, unprotected sex that sometimes involves illegal drug use every day of the week in Manhattan, and nobody's locking them up in psychiatric wards against their will. Okay, so these psychiatrists just make up stories. And why is this important? Because the patients' rights movement was started by normal, decent, sane women in the 1920s, the 1930s, the 1940s, who before divorce was readily available, their husbands would bribe dishonest psychiatrists to drop kick them into mental hospitals that were used as de facto prisons. And the patients' rights movement was started by a normal, sane woman who was kept as a prisoner in a locked psychiatric ward that was used as a de facto prison for 20 years. And it was because she had survived that nightmare. And then when she finally got out of that prison, started the patients' rights movement so that never again would another woman be victimized. And because of her efforts and the efforts of other women throughout the decades, it was harder for dishonest, crooked doctor Vladimir Jelnov to hold me as a prisoner. So, we got our guest, and what I want to get to now is here's how ADA Alex Spiro lied. And I asked my school for my records. My records are falsified. My records are forming a foundation of falsified records that are being used to hurt me today. Today. Apparently, there are dishonest doctors at Rikers Island who claim that they have the right to diagnose me based on history. The history is fraud. So my falsified records at my medical school were used to create a foundation of falsified records. There are even more falsified records at Jersey City Medical Center and in Jersey City, and these falsified records were used at Rikers Island to create even more falsified records. I'm being stalked through life by dishonest doctors and lawyers associated with the Albert Einstein College of Medicine of Yeshiva University because I refused to sign a contract releasing them from liability in my case, and they execute their revenge by running around behind my back telling people that I'm a deranged terrorist when I'm not. Do you know how sick that is? And this is going on today. Janice Bennett at Columbia University is one of the dishonest, she's a clinical psychologist, so I'll call her a doctor, but she's not a medical doctor. She's a clinical psychologist. She's a dishonest clinical psychologist who works on the Columbia University campus. I refused to sign a contract releasing her from liability, and she dashed down to the public safety department at Columbia University and claimed she was annoyed, her feelings were hurt, and got me illegally barred from campus today. Today, there are phony phone calls to the police department harassing the woman who's giving me a place to stay while I litigate to get my apartment back. All of this is happening today. It has not stopped. These people are monsters. They almost murdered me. Now, let's go to, enough of me talking, let's go to the evidence, shall we? This is from my criminal trial transcript. This is page 355 of my criminal trial transcript. And I'm going to show you how Assistant District Attorney Alex Spiro conspired in the crimes against me. And what he did was he lied to a judge. So I'm going to read this. It's also posted on the website, and I can repost it on Crooked Doctors blog. So I'm going to read this to you, and then I'm going to magnify it so you can read it for yourself. Okay, so here we go. This is page 355 of my criminal trial transcript, right here, page 355. And here's what Alex Spiro says. Okay, here's what Alex Spiro says. we had made a subpoena for all my records, and Alex Spiro lied. And he said, no, the subpoena wasn't good for all my records. It was only good for the period of 1997 forward. So let me read this. And you know what? Let me just magnify this a little bit. This is Alex Spiro, and he's saying, first and foremost, let me magnify this a little bit more. First and foremost, the issue of the subpoena and the records. That order by Judge Simpson, after talking to individuals associated with Einstein and taking a look at my notations, was only for the period of 1997 forward. Okay, so what we want to establish is that Alex Spiro, Assistant District Attorney at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, lied to Judge McLaughlin, and what he said was that the subpoena was only good. First and foremost, the issue of the subpoena and the records. That order by Judge Simpson, after talking to individuals associated with Einstein and taking a look at my notations, was only for the period of 1997 forward. Here. Whoops, 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 whoops. Let me just get this for you. Okay. Why is this important? Because I enrolled at the school in 1990. I matriculated and enrolled at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine in 1994. And it took them till January 30th, 1998 to harass me and illegally expel me from the school. Now, why is this important? Because when I applied to medical school, I gave the school letters of recommendation, okay? Those letters of recommendation show that there's nothing wrong with me. I'm a wonderful person. They go back about 20 years, but Dr. Vladimir Jelnov at Jersey City Medical Center threatened me. And he told me if I didn't shut up, that he would lie about me even more, and he would claim that there was something wrong with me, that I was delusional for the past 20 years. Now, that's not true, and I'm going to give you an example of how the propaganda works. Okay, there was a student who was expelled from the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. Her name is Marlene Abramova. She is associated with the Russian community, and she asked me to be a witness in her case, and she asked me to help her. I did so, and apparently what she had done is gone to very important people, including important people in Israel, and tried to take credit for my work. Ultimately, she plagiarized from me. She demonstrated that she's too dishonest to be a doctor, too stupid to be a doctor, and lacks compassion to be a doctor. And I can get into those details in a minute, but the bottom line is Marlene Abramova functions under the delusional belief that if I discredit a few school officials for her, then everything that she did will all be forgotten, and she'll just go back to medical school as if nothing happened. Okay, Marlene Abramova is delusional. I'm not delusional. And what Marlene Abramova does is she uses her contacts in the Russian community, notably David Rybakov, and they had a hand in the crimes that are ongoing towards me. So there's about, let's see, there's 4 enemy camps. So we have the Albert Einstein College of Medicine, that's one enemy camp, and then we have the Marlene Abramova crowd with the Russians, which is another enemy camp. Then we have Asaf Rosenheim, ex-military, self-identified Israeli, who lied on the witness stand in my landlord-tenant case. This is who's been had a hand in stalking me and in crimes against me. This is the witness against me. And then we have the Nino Falcone camp. This is Judge Nino Falcone. So there's a bunch of enemy camps, and they decided that because my evidence was credible and because the witnesses who were coming forward were credible, they decided to tell a pack of lies to get me to shut up in Jersey City, and it didn't work. So after my physical assault at Jersey City Medical Center that left me with serious bodily injury, almost left me paralyzed or dead, I called my medical school and said, Vladimir Jelnov threatened me. I want my records, I want my letters of recommendation, I want to publish them. One of my letters of recommendation is from Senator Moynihan's office. That has not been provided to me. In fact, there's a list of documents that has not been provided to me. So when I'm in criminal trial and I'm telling the judge, I want my records, I want my complete unedited records, and I want to publish my letters of recommendation because they protect me from being stalked through life by these psychopaths. In addition to, they falsified my financial records, my medical records, my educational records. I want my records and I want to publish them because they protect my life against crooked doctors and crooked lawyers. And I got Assistant District Attorney Alex Spiro, who on page 355 of my criminal trial transcript lied to Judge McLaughlin. Judge Edward J. McLaughlin was the criminal trial judge. Part of my inability to articulate well is part of the nerve damage. He lied to a judge, and he said, first and foremost, the issue of the subpoena and the records. That order by Judge Simpson, after talking to individuals associated with Einstein, that would be Martin Bachstein, the brains behind this operation, and taking a look at my notations, was only for a period of 1997 forward, okay? Alex Spiro lied. The subpoena was good for all my records, and the reason he wanted to stop it at 1997 was because he did not want my letters of recommendation to be published, because if you publish my letters of recommendation, they vindicate me. So let's go and look at, let me see if I can make this any bigger. Hold it. Give me 1 second here. Hold it. Let's see if I can make this view. If I can, give me 1 second. Let me see how. I want to make sure that everybody can see this, and I'm going to publish it on a website. I'm wondering how much I can, hold on here. I don't want to leave doubt in, oh good, I can. All right, it looks like, I'm going to change the view back to this because this is one sentence that shows that Alex Spiro lied to a judge. His notations didn't say that the subpoena was limited to 1997. My subpoena was for all my records, my complete unedited records. Alex Spiro lied. If you're being prosecuted at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, you need to call me so I can be a witness in your case and show that Assistant District Attorney Alex Spiro lies. He probably I think he handles about 150 cases a year. He handles major cases. Please call me. I will go to court with my records, which are irrefutable, and you can use them to defend yourself against a dishonest prosecutor. So let's look at this. Okay, and let me see if I can make this. Yep. Okay, let me see how much I can expand this. Okay. And then we'd have to drop back a bit. Okay. Okay. First and foremost, that the issue of the subpoena and the records, that order by Judge Simpson after talking to individuals associated with Einstein, and a look at my notations, was only for a period of 1997 forward, okay? That's not true. Alex Spiro lied, and let me drop this down a little bit, hold it. Thanks for your patience while I manipulate the computer here. Let me put this down, and what we're gonna look at next is the subpoena. Let's look at the subpoena. And I'm going to read the subpoena to you, and you're going to see that Alex Spiro lied. Now, this is not just one example. I've got example after example after example. And what I'd like is I was promised a meeting with District Attorney Vance. We have a responsibility to go to Mr. Vance and say, your assistant district attorney lied to a judge. This is very serious. Okay, me and my attorneys should be running, not walking, to Mr. Vance saying it's very serious when the integrity of the Manhattan District Attorney's Office is compromised by an assistant district attorney who lies. Okay? And if you're out there and you're being prosecuted by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, call me. 516-445-4390. That's my private cell phone number. 516-445-4390. Call me and I will come to court and I will show that Assistant District Attorney Alex Spiro lied to a criminal court judge. This is news you can use. Let's look at that. Okay, so this is my this is the subpoena. And let me expand this so we can all read it together. Whoops. Thanks for your patience while I manipulate the computer here. Here we go. So we can all read this together. Yep. So we get the big overview, right? This is the criminal court trial, the people of New York persecuting innocent Lydia Radin. And let me expand this a little bit so we can all look at it. And nowhere does it say on this subpoena that it's limited to 1997 forward. We command that you or someone on your behalf, this is to the Albert Einstein College of Medicine of Yeshiva University, we command that you or someone on your behalf provide the following items: the complete, unedited, let me read this to you again slowly so that there's no question in anybody's mind. And let me expand this just as much as I can. Let me see. Nope, that's a little too much. Let me go down a little bit. Okay, so this is a subpoena to the Albert Einstein College of Medicine of Yeshiva University. We command that you or someone on your behalf provide and produce the following items: the complete, unedited file and records from any and all sources of Lydia Radin in the form of certified photocopies, including but not limited to her application to college, together with any and all correspondence, including the acceptance letter, her educational records for attendance at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine, records of payment of tuition for any and all portions of her educational expense at said college, applications for any and all loans applied in connection with her payment of college tuition, together with any correspondence, including any additional correspondence between the college, its administration, or any other source concerning Lydia Radin, including the Office of Graduate Medical Education, Associate and General Counsel at Part A of Criminal Court, New York County, located at 100 Center Street, on or before the first day of October 2009, 9:30 a.m., to the attention of the clerk, Part A. And, the person that's issuing this subpoena is, the judge who signed it is Judge Shondia Simpson, one of the judges of the criminal court. Now, I just read to you this subpoena. Nowhere in this subpoena does it say it's for 1997 forward. And this subpoena was for my complete unedited records, including my letters of recommendation, to put a stop to Dr. Vladimir Jelnov, crooked doctor, crooked psychiatrist at Jersey City Medical Center, who threatened me that if I didn't shut up, he would lie about me even more, with the goal of putting me in a locked psychiatric ward for life, because nobody wants me telling the truth. And I'm going to go through in detail all the people who lied, including Debbie Simpson, who I got confirmation Debbie Simpson at the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office lied to the State Attorney General. Debbie Simpson, as confirmed by Bryna Keisner, medical director at Jersey City Medical Center, never asked for my records. For 2.5 years, Debbie Simon has been talking about how she's going to do this great big investigation, and step one, she never even requested my records. Jersey City is an extremely dangerous place to live because today, Judge Rodriguez, this is Nestle A. Rodriguez, has been running around behind my back for 3 years. For 3 years, the chief judge in Jersey City has been running around behind my back claiming that I mailed her threatening letters and can't produce them because there are no threatening letters from me to Judge Rodriguez. Judge Nino Falcone, paid by my landlords, mailed me a threatening letter. That's how the propaganda works. And the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office does not protect citizens in Jersey City. Is this a place you want to live? Now, suck it up already, Mayor Healy, and I'm saying this with utmost respect. Mayor Healy promised me. I talked to Mayor Healy twice. Mayor Healy is the mayor of Jersey City, and I talked to him twice. And he promised me a sit-down meeting because, Mayor Healy, this is your town. And I do not believe that Mayor Healy cottons to having dishonest, crooked judges, dishonest, crooked lawyers from out of town come into Jersey City and hurt his residents. So Mayor Healy promised me a sit-down meeting. Mayor Healy knows Judge Rodriguez, and he promised me he would go and reach out to her and say, you know, what's this business of you running around claiming that Miss Radin is mailing you threatening letters and you can't produce them, okay? What is this nonsense? This is Mayor Healy's town. And by the way, I'm not out to get Mayor Healy, and Mayor Healy knows exactly what I'm going through because Mayor Healy was illegally convicted of disorderly conduct. He had to fight these false charges for 2 years, and the purpose was to label him as a criminal so that they could so that his political rivals could have him removed from office. Okay, because once you've been labeled as a criminal, you know, you can't hold elected office in Jersey. So Mayor Healy knows exactly what I'm going through. These are not bona fide real charges. These are trumped up charges that dishonest doctors and dishonest lawyers trumped up to punish me because I refused to sign a contract releasing them from liability in my case. In fact, the plea bargain that ADA Alex Spiro presented to me was a negotiation on Yeshiva University's behalf, not for the good of the people in New York State. And here's what ADA Alex Spiro said. We're going to drop all the charges against you, Lydia, because they're all bogus. And all these psychiatric issues, they're crap. We all know that's crap. That's all going to go away. Everything's going to be dropped down to a violation, which is like, you know, a parking ticket. But what we want you to do is to sign a contract wherein you would agree never to see your records from the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. Of course they want me to sign a contract where I would agree never to see my records, including my educational records from the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. And this is being presented to me in 2009 so that John Scarfone, who lied in federal court about me 3 years earlier in 2006, could get away with it. So Rabbi Lamb at Yeshiva University, a religious school, pays an attorney to go into court and lie in violation of the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, Rabbi Lamb. And I can and will go to rabbis and ask them to pass judgment on your school. Not kosher. This is not kosher. So, we got Alex Spiro, who's lied to a judge, and I've presented you with that information. In fact, on this show, on the blog site, I want to do this really quickly. Let me just do this. Actually, I think I already have this set up. Yeah. I'd like you to go, if you'd like to help, you can go to a website. It's called the petition site, and in the search bar, if you type in Crooked Doctors / Yeshiva University, you'll find an online petition. And we're calling for an independent federal prosecutor. We want an independent federal prosecutor because when doctors lie and judges lie and district attorneys lie. This is very serious. We need an independent federal prosecutor. So if you're out there in the viewing audience, if you go to a website called the petition site and you type in the search bar crookedDoctors /Yeshiva University, please sign the online petition. In Washington Heights, the residents prefer a face-to-face interaction. They prefer to sign the petition. So if you go to this site, the petition site, and you type in crookedDoctors /Yeshiva University, you'll come to the petition, and there you'll find a link that will take you to the Crooked Doctors blog site. And on that blog site, I'm posting evidence that you can view for yourself. For example, I'm going to post page 335 of my criminal trial transcript that we looked at today, and I'm going to post the subpoena, and that's going to show that Assistant District Attorney Alex Spiro, from the petition site, you can get to the blog site because there's a link. There's a blog site called Crooked Doctors. And that's where I'm posting the supportive evidence to this show. By the way, I should say, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 monitors. You know, I was criticized by Crooked Doctors that, oh, she must be a liar because, you know, she keeps looking up to the left, and, you know, they have this whole stupid theory about if you look up and if your view changes that you must be lying. No, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 monitors. I've got 2 computers. I could hook up my laptop if I wanted. In short, I'm multitasking, and there's a lot going on here to produce this show. You can see the console here. So when I'm looking around, it's because I'm checking the countdown clock, I'm checking the monitors, I'm checking to make sure that you guys can see the evidence. There's a lot going on here. It's also, there's some stupid, by Crooked Doctors, there's some stupid theory that if you touch your nose, you're lying. Yeah, I touch my nose because it's cold in the studio and my nose is running. The reason why it's cold is because for the equipment, the temperature has to be low. So you can see we're overdressed a bit too. There's about 9 minutes left in my show. Now, next week we're going to have a terrific guest who's running for a Hudson County executive, a very powerful position in Hudson County. This is a guy who has the power to hire and fire. I will be going to the current county exec, that's Tom DeGeese, and asking him to fire Debbie Simon, because if you are because if you're at the Hudson County Prosecutor's Office and you're a prosecutor and you lie for the past 2.5 years and you lie to the State Attorney General's office and you allow a resident of Jersey City to be victimized to the degree that me and my family and friends have been victimized, you deserve criminal prosecution, and at the very least you deserve to be fired. So we're going to get into some of those details. What I want to do for the last, what have I got, 7, 8 minutes left, I presented to you evidence that page 330, please call me, by the way, if you're being prosecuted by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office and Assistant District Attorney Alex Spiro is prosecuting you, please call me. I would love to show up and say, here's page 335 from my criminal trial transcript, and here's how Assistant District Attorney Alex Spiro lied to a judge, and here's a subpoena that shows he lied. And this is just one example. I'll give you example after example after example. Alex Spiro did not out-lawyer anybody. Alex Spiro is a crooked lawyer who lied. And I'm going to read to you some of the documents that are still missing. And in my criminal trial transcript, which I'll be presenting, I'm sure, I talk to Judge McLaughlin and I say, I've never gotten my complete unedited records. In fact, today, right now, I'm preparing a letter to Judge Simpson saying, you have not enforced a valid subpoena. Here's a list, a preliminary list of documents that are still missing, and when you don't enforce a valid subpoena, you can be prosecuted under the public officers law. It's a crime in New York State for a judge not to do her duties. So right now, I'm preparing a list of documents for Judge Simpson and presenting the reasons why. Here's why the school wants to conceal these documents. Because they show, for example, that my school is engaged in even more crimes, and they show that I'm telling the truth. But as we have about 5 minutes left, what I can do to maximize news you can use is I want to take you to a New York state law. This is McKinney's, because the reason why I'm showing you this is because this is McKinney's Education Law, Section 6530, and you can use this information to protect yourself against crooked doctors, like at my medical school, psychiatrists who lie. So let's take a look at that. This is, let me just maximize the view here so you can increase the view a little bit here. I want to zoom in a little bit. Okay, this is McKinney's Education Law. This is New York State Law, Section 6530, and this is definitions of professional misconduct. Okay, if doctors are operating beyond their authorized scope, they're engaged in professional misconduct. So, practicing medicine beyond its authorized scope. Okay, practicing the profession beyond its authorized scope. In other words, there isn't a psychiatrist out there who can volunteer an opinion about you unless you say that he can. Unless you sign a, let me get the correct, it's not the one I want. Here's the one I want. Here we go. Here we go. This is McKinney's Education Law, Section 6530. If you're a private person out there and there's some crooked doctor like Jimmy David who's making up stories, making up diagnoses about you, you throw New York State law in his face. McKinney's Education Law, Section 6530, which says, let me just increase the view here. Okay, it is part of professional misconduct to perform professional services, which performing, this is McKinney's Education Law, Section 6530, line item 26, performing professional services which have not been duly authorized by the patient. That's right. Here we go. Let me just increase this a little bit more. No, I'm going to have to go down a little bit. Hold on. Thank you for your patience while I get this just right. So in other words, if I don't sign an authorization form that gives the dishonest, crooked doctors at Rikers Island Mental Health permission to treat me as a patient, I am not their patient. So they're running a scam. And I'm going to discuss a little bit how that scam works. And I already talked to Tom Kapp over at the Bronx District Attorney's Office, and he referred the scam that I described over to one of his colleagues. So we can prosecute the dishonest doctors, the dishonest psychiatrists at Rikers Island Mental Health that ran around behind my back telling people there was something wrong with me then when there wasn't. And one of the things that they did is they violated New York State law, which says that they are performing professional services which have not been duly authorized by the patient or his or her legal representative, but that's only if you're incapacitated, and I wasn't. I'm not incapacitated. So, performing professional services which have not been duly authorized by the patient is professional misconduct. And that's how you out there watching this program can protect yourself against dishonest psychiatrists like Dr. David. Dr. David sat on my promotion.